Bank holidays are always a bonus, if you get them, but sometimes they do look a bit like just kicking the can down the road. Bank holiday Monday gets followed by not a bank holiday Tuesday, and there's always a threat of what would have needed to be faced on Monday at work, now piled up against Tuesday's regular work to go back to. And what is it we dread about that? Why is facing work a thing of dread to so many? At root, it seems very much to be the fear we won't be able to face up to its challenges without falling short or failing in some way we're expected not to. According to Psychology Today, fear of failure is the intense worry you experience when you imagine all the horrible things that could happen if you fail to achieve a goal. The intense worry increases the odds of holding back or giving up. Being successful relies to a large extent, they say, on your ability to leverage fear. Well, psychologists seem to psychologize the whole thing by giving it a name, a tachyphobia, would you believe, and presenting us with techniques to cure it, as if it's a sickness. Well, no doubt, when it gets out of hand, there's a case to be made for treatment, but the simple existence of this fear of failure is not really abnormal at all. It comes with the line of country. It's very arguably just part of being human. Failure, its experience, memory, and anticipation, is simply part of being human rather than divine. And what it does is remind us of our realities and our dependence on the one who lies above and beyond us. He's not like this himself, and he sees his role as to stand by us, strengthen us, and assist us in facing, dealing with, and overcoming our capacity to fail, day by day, and a day at a time. In our verse for the day, we read, "As the rain and the snow come down from heaven and do not return to it without watering the earth and making it bud and flourish, so that it yields seed for the sower and bread for the eater, so is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it." That's Isaiah 55, 10 to 11. Now, you may well want to say, well, that's all very well for him, but how does God's non-failure do anything for me? Well, here's the point. Psychology will offer you ways to re-envisage the reality you're facing in such a way as to minimize its reality. Whereas the God who speaks in his word may correct your perceptions of that reality, which may or may not be more comforting, but then he strengthens you as you trust in the word of the one who speaks to enable you to face, not to flee from that reality. So Isaiah 55 goes on to speak of the fruit of all of that. You will go out in joy and be led forth in peace. The mountains and hills will burst into song before you, and all the trees of the field will clap their hands. That's the very next verse, Isaiah 55:11. So God's non-failure is there to bring joy and peace in his people, available for that. Now, okay, Isaiah has got a bit of a poetic description of how trusting in the God who doesn't fail and living in reliance on him and his word might affect how you will walk into the office on Bank Holiday Tuesday. It's possibly not the sort of entrance you'll want to make either, breaking into joy and peace and jumping and singing with the trees of the field. But you get the point. Here's the takeaway. Living through our failures, trusting in the non-failing God and leaning on the wisdom in his word, which cannot fail, puts our fear of failure in a whole different perspective and equips us to be more fully human than we were before as we grow into the remade model of humanity that God is creating in all of us who live trusting in him.